The disciples come to Jesus and they ask him, Master, could you teach us how to pray? And so as he walks his disciples through this example prayer, coaching them on how to approach prayer and the Heavenly Father, we find different portions of this prayer. We find it begins and concludes with praise. Hallowed be thy name. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. We find there's a request for provision. Give us this day our daily bread. There's a request for a perfecting work. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. But then there's another portion of this prayer that's always struck me funny. You see, the other portions of the prayer are ones that we could cite another verse that says ye have not because ye ask not. I ask God for my daily bread and he grants it. I ask him to deliver me from evil and he does. I ask him to forgive me and he gives his forgiveness. But then Jesus teaches his disciples to pray, thy will be done. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And I remember growing up how preachers would pray, Father, come have your will and have your way. And so it begs the question, do I have to, through prayer, grant the Father permission to have his will and his way? Is that the reason that I pray that, so that God can have his will? When God's will happens, I can go, oh, it's because I prayed for it. God couldn't have had his will had I not prayed, Father, have your will. Well, the answer to that question is an obvious no. The Father is all-powerful and all-knowing, and he exists outside of time. He's all-present. He knows exactly what your future holds. So why pray for God's will if God is ultimately going to have his will? Friends, here Jesus is teaching his disciples to ask for perspective. Your perspective will always determine your experience. So friend, if I ask God, please have your will, Lord, show me your will, in the middle of a dire situation, I can see God's hand. Friends, before we begin a road trip, don't we ask God, give me safety? Before we begin a day, don't we ask God, give us a great day? But friend, what if the thing that might ultimately draw us closer to the Father would be a day that was less than joyous, or a trip that was less than safe? Friend, what if we prayed and asked God to show us his will and to reveal his hand in everything that we experience? Then I believe that perspective would change our experience. Even though our day might be the same as a bad day that we had before, we would now see the hand of God and our experience would shift. As our perspective changes, so does our experience. So friend, let me challenge you today. Rather than pray for a great day and a safe trip, let me challenge you to pray for this. God, would you change my perspective? Would you reveal your will in each situation? And as our perspective begins to shift, you'll find that your experience changes as well. Father, reveal your will, show me your way, allow me to trust your heart each and every day.